The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report with Dom and without Charles once again. Sorry, I've been in an all-day seminary thing today and haven't had time to record a new episode. Charles is incredibly busy with a forthcoming project too, which I'm sure he will plug to pieces on the podcast when it's finally official. So we haven't been able to record a new one for you, but there's an episode I haven't been able to bring myself to listen to yet, and I think if I can do it, we should all bring ourselves to listen to it together. It's called Live and Arty. It's from November last year when I was travelling and couldn't come to this very exciting event featuring Craig Reucassel, Mark Humphries, Jennifer Forward-Hayter, Gabbi Bolt, what a star-studded lineup, and some guy called Charles Firth. I haven't listened to it, but why don't we all listen to it together? If you think we should do more live events for the Chaser Report, please email podcast@chaser.com.au and tell us what and where you think we should do them. Unless, of course, you think we should do more live events without me, in which case I don't want to hear from you. Anyway, let's enjoy/suffer through this in a fog of jealousy if you're me. The Chaser Report, Live and Arty from November.
Well, hello and welcome to the Chaser Report, Live and Arty.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I think the reason that Charles has done this is to answer the question, who are the people who would turn up to a podcast in an art gallery? Like, who is that nerdy? Yes, good.
So we're gonna talk mainly about art tonight, but the way we wanted to kick it off, the way I wanted to kick it off was to bring up the topic of should arts funding be abolished? Because just explain what you're seeing in this room here. This is all by Jennifer Forward-Hayter, who's there. That's the artist. And her name is apt because I think I hate her because she spent about a month trailing around, the Chaser office and, following all the interns and watching us do production, and taking photos every single day. And I'm not in the fucking exhibition. Everyone else is. Like, oh, look, John, the intern. Big fucking huge wall-sized poster of it. Lachlan, the podcast producer. Another wall. Alexa, another intern. Fucking gets a nude.
That's great.
Andrew Hansen, who doesn't even work on the thing now.
Yeah, she flew down to Melbourne for one day, gets a photo of Andrew, puts it up. Right? Those fucking post-it notes in our office.
Hey.
Got a more prominent position than me.
It's really good handwriting. We wrote those. Yeah. I think.
To be fair, I mean, there is a picture of a suit there. I presume she photoshopped you out of that. Oh, Charles is in this. It does show that Jennifer has extraordinary tastes. Yeah, it's great.
I think I only took one photo of Andrew and doesn't it won awards or something? Yeah. 2 awards.
It's won 2 awards. This photo of Andrew has won 2 awards.
And he's not even here.
The photo of Charles is the toilet paper tonight.
Yeah, there's a small photo, because I know you're all desperate. You're all going, but where's the photos of Charles, right? And there's a small one at the front that she sort of, like I think she just developed a big W or something like that.
Right.
And then there's one around there, and that's it.
The subtext.
So I think the point is that all arts funding should be abolished.
Jen, I think you should take photos of this moment and then develop them later.
And then you look at it later and go, yeah, those don't work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it'll be a whole exhibition called Charles's Rage.
What's wrong with my technique?
What I would love everyone to do tonight is to take as many photos as you can and Photoshop Charles out of them.
Yes.
That'd be fantastic.
It'd be stunning.
Yeah.
It's good to know, Charles, that you have a face for podcasting but not for art.
Yeah.
But you've been on the receiving end of you've kind of worked out how to game the arts funding system.
Oh yeah.
You had a museum piece a few years ago.
Yes.
Called the Museum of Words.
Yes.
How did that come about? It was a big scam, wasn't it?
This was the greatest scam of my life. And I think actually also one of the greatest things I've ever done, actually, which is in 2012, why did we do it? I can't even remember why we did it. But I think we just wanted to make a bit of money, right? And so we thought, how do you make the most amount of money for the least amount of work, right? And we obviously thought, like Jennifer, art, right? Like, and so what we did is we came up with that's right, because this is really sad because, I love City of Sydney, aren't they great? But we did sort of scam them. But so City of Sydney were doing their cultural grants. Every year they do cultural grants, they give arts grants out. And it was coming up, and so I said, why don't we photocopy a whole lot of words, put them on a piece of paper, and put them on walls, and we'll call it a museum of words, right? And so I then wrote up this application describing, this museum of words, which was literally just photocopied pieces of paper on a wall, and they gave me $20,000 to do it. And it was fucking fantastic, and it was so good. And then some other funder came on for another $7,500 because we'd got this arts grant, and suddenly I was in the arts grant, industrial complex industry, right? And we had so much fun. We spent $1,000 on the invitations, and the way we did the invitations was we got black cardboard, and then we printed it in black. And send it out to everyone. And then the whole concept, because we got a bit ambitious, because you got $27,000 to spend, right?
Sure.
And so we went, why don't we get famous people to donate words, right? And then the idea is that they're not allowed to use that word while it's donated to the gallery. So we wrote to everyone. We wrote to Gina Reinhardt, and she donated the word perseverance. With this really shitty, sort of arrogant, conservative description of the word, and then we wrote to the Queen. This is the best one. We wrote to the Queen. She replied, saying that she wouldn't donate a word. They're very polite.
That's great.
Yeah, no.
She's like, I own all the words. Fuck off.
I presume she wrote this down, though.
Yeah, no, she donated 100 words explaining that she wouldn't donate a word. What a cunt.
To make sure...
God rest her soul.
To make sure they didn't steal any of their words, she wrote it on white paper and white ink.
Well, the British Empire is very white, so...
So it's interesting. That's a much stronger argument for getting rid of arts funding than the fact that you're not in this exhibition. I've got to say, Charles, I would have opened with that.
No, but the funny thing was that, okay, so what happened was we then because the whole point about art is you've got to get publicity, you've got to get people to come along, right? So we then, the day before it launched, because we hired this beautiful Chalice Gallery or something like that, Chalice Studios or something, Chalice Street.
Clearly fond in your heart, yeah.
In Potts Point, this amazing building to put up all the photocopied words. And
did you even frame them? I can't even remember.
Yeah, we framed them.
They did actually look quite good.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it printed out a little call flip. We had a description of each word, there was a definition.
A dictionary.
And we had a gift shop. We had a gift shop. A dictionary, yeah. No, we had a definition of dictionary, which was called a portable museum of words, right? Oh, good. Yeah.
And you could buy the words, couldn't you?
You could buy the words. Oh, yeah. It was art. It was all about money, yeah. And people did buy it.
How much were the words going for?
$200.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyway, so then
you really invented NFTs before NFTs invented. You actually came up with the best idea you ever had and failed at it.
Fucked it up.
But to get publicity for the event, I rang up the art critic at the Herald, this lovely woman called Susan Wyndham, who I treated very poorly, right? Because the first... So I started out by pointing out that it was a total scam and that criticising our funders, going, this is an entire scam. The City of Sydney should be ashamed for funding this. It's just a whole lot of words on a wall. Right. Just to get publicity, like it was sort of performance art, right? Like I wasn't actually saying that, just to get the numbers in, right? And then we were trying to get, and that went viral. Like, there was the top story in the Herald that day. And then we went, how do we milk it? So my producer and I sat down. We went, how do we milk it for another news cycle? Like get a second bite of the cherry. We went, we've got to stage a fight, and you have to sack me, right, for saying such awful things about arts funding, right? And so we orchestrated it, and we're just sitting there, and I tweeted out, I can't believe how shit Tanya Safi is. She's so shit. What a disgrace, and changed my bio to not be, founder of the Museum of Words. And
So you were saying, I've been sacked. I've been sacked.
Yeah, I've been sacked. Within 5 minutes, Susan goes, what's the story? And so I'm too angry to talk, right? Then she calls Tanya, and at one point she goes, now are you sure you're not just like pranking me? This is legit. And it's like, I'm totally sure. And we got a whole extra, and then that went global, right? Like that actually, the BBC picked it up. I did this long. Anyway, there.
Can I just say, sorry, as a young person where getting an arts grant is like finding a needle in a fucking haystack, I'm so mad about this.
I know.
All I have to do is fake that I'm good at something, and then it's like, here's $20,000.
Yeah. Gabby, I know it's very frustrating, and it's obviously an evil act that he did.
Yes.
But as long as he's never stupid enough to record it and put it out live on a podcast, it's fine. He's such a genius, this guy.
I almost just feel like really cheated because I've worked for him, and at no point has he been like, Gabby, here's what you should do to get some extra money. Like, it's like you've been hiding your secrets.
It's all in grants applications.
Yeah.
So look, we talked about the fact that Charles hasn't made the exhibition, and I think we've all agreed that that's a good move. Yes, the audience is definitely on board for that. Well done, Jen. You've really nailed it.
Yeah, crushed.
Let's talk about some of the art that did make it. I'd like to, if you all turn around to the back there, this picture of Mark here. Gabby, can you describe this for the people who can't see this picture?
In, like, for podcast friendly viewing?
Explain Mark there.
Mark is attempting to do the Michael Jackson lean. And then halfway through looking at the camera, realising he's being documented and immediately regretting that decision.
He's thrusting his groin
I don't know
forward.
why. Were we there that day?
It was a private solo shoot.
So we let you do that?
Yeah.
No, I feel like a bad friend that I watched you obviously pose like this.
And you didn't intervene.
And didn't intervene at all.
You didn't stop that
I
crime.
didn't go,
from
Mark
Obviously, Mark was
actually-
like, well, I'll never put this in because they got all these great photos of Charles.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure.
Talk us through that, Mark.
Well, yeah, there's clearly a lot behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, it reeks of single and ready to mingle, doesn't it? I think my marriage had just ended, and I think that's sort of that comes through. In the photo.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, that photo was presented by your ex-wife to the court, and she got 100% custody and all of the money just off that photo.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
at the moment, and I guess this is the thing goes back to Charles's thing. At the point where you were doing that, did you realise you were art?
I've always felt I'm art. I feel everything I do is art.
Yeah.
But it was just nice that someone finally captured it. But I think it's also true that whatever your worst pose is the one that will
make the shot.
will make the-
I will. Craig, is there a single photo of you in this exhibition?
No,
Right,
I'm not in
got
this
it.
at all.
So you have no stakes and you're just ready to roast.
You were too busy working.
Wait, is there a photo of a plastic bag somewhere?
But secondly,
Oh no, Craig, get out! It's a plastic bottle.
Jen flew to Melbourne to photograph 2 seconds of Andrew. Apparently, she couldn't find me in Sydney.
No, you were too busy being
I'm
a
the one that
wildlife
should
warrior.
be offended by this whole thing. No,
But if you
Oh, wait, sounds like a threat.
But you've posed. You must have posed at some point for a portrait of some sort.
How old are you?
For an Archibald before.
What?
Have you like sat for one?
Well, no, it was actually, but it wasn't really planned. It was just a friend who was an artist who was across the road, and we got really drunk. and he painted me, but he didn't finish it.
Stunning.
So then he gave me. I literally have rolled up in my house. Like he gave me it's like about, I'd say 4 meters by 6 meter picture of me. He's actually done quite a good job. What the fuck am I going to do with that? I am not one of those people who would ever get. I think I find it fascinating. People who, like, you walk into the house and go, "Oh, there's a picture of you. That's good." Anyone that buys their Archibald and puts it on the wall is a psychopath.
Yeah, but I got a good deal on mine.
Oh shit! Oh yes! Oh no!
So wait a minute, you sat for...
Yes, I sat for one which was didn't make it. That's why you've never seen it. I think the most.
Did you do that pose? Is that why?
Oh, wait a minute, that is it.
My one.
People don't know. There's the packing room prize, and then there's the ones they burn.
I think the least dignifying part of it is having to carry it in with the artist to the gallery to be rejected.
Wait, did they do that in person?
No.
Oh, I thought it was like Top Model. I really was like, they wheel each
it was-
painting in. They're like, no,
It was-
definitely not.
It was Shark Tank. I was saying this pose means single ready to mingle. And yes, and that was rejected. And so yes, it had no inherent.
But how did you find the experience of being painted?
Oh, it was thrilling. It was it was good. Well, I mean,
How long did it take?
I was probably only, he took a few photos, some tasteful nudes, and then I did, which were just for his private collection. And but I think I probably only maybe an hour or two, and he felt like he had enough.
Oh, right, because I always thought that the rule with the Archibald was that the person had to sort of sit and you paint them while they were sitting.
That is the rule. That's why you get in. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm throwing the artist. It might have been longer. Now I think about it, it was 7 to 8 days of sitting.
Do you know the interesting thing about nude painting right now is that, so the first person that turned up for this particular thing today was quite a young, hot guy, right? And I thought, wow, this is a lot younger audience than I expected for this.
Good to see now.
It turns out, no offence to all of you, it turns out that the reason is that this room tonight is normally used for a nude painting exhibition, and he's the nude model, and they've moved it into the other room over there. Hey,
That's what I'm hearing. You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
we're all going to look at him at the end
I
of
will
this, but
leave
you got to
right
stay
now.
for the podcast, okay?
That's it. And when you see the pose that he goes for,
Exactly. It's actually it's like a bit of a carrot and stick. So I've told you there's a hot guy posing nude over there, but also at the end of this, Mark will do that posing again nude as well. Between the two of them, we will all be in the other room very quickly.
You can have one incredible man or settle for 3 really average ones. Thank you and good night. I didn't mean that.
I think that's a fair call.
I didn't mean it. I mean, I did, but I'm going to say I didn't because I need to get paid.
So Charles, you haven't sat for.
I
Archibald.
never.
Thank God. I was really worried I was the only one on this panel that had
Yeah,
never
have
had
you
that.
never-
No, I'm young.
Yeah.
Who wants to paint me? They'll be like, cool, painting of young, poor, inner West Sydney person. And it's not going to go anywhere.
Well, they're so common. Like,
Yeah.
But none of us have made it in, though. It's fine.
No. I mean, we can't even afford art. We can't because as renters, we're not even allowed to put.
Yeah.
Art
Stuff
up.
on the wall.
But yeah, because you're renters, aren't you? Yeah.
It's funny because it is interesting because there is a bit of a generational divide in this panel, and I was thinking on the way in here. We got a bit of an art kind of crowd here, so I was trying to write down some of the potential topics that would
Fucking hell.
work with it. And can I just run this past you
Sure.
two to see
I
if we go
don't care.
all? Isn't it annoying when you fill all your walls with art, so you have to buy a second house? Isn't that?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, isn't that annoying?
It is. Oh, that's so annoying.
See, look! Oh God, it's
And-
working. It's so relatable for this crowd.
And you gotta play stamp duty.
It's such a shame that it's harder to buy art through your super fund now.
Yes.
It's definitely the case, isn't it? You know, doesn't it suck? Doesn't it suck? This is everyone is going to be on board.
Yeah,
with this
go
one.
on, yeah.
Doesn't it suck when you're trying to build a new part of the gallery and give them the money and get your name on it and stuff, and they do the ethics test and you don't pass? Fuck, I hate that.
Well, I thought about just putting up some words in my apartment. Apparently, that's going to cost me $20,000.
You can do that now. Sell it. It's fine. Yes. No, but anyway, it's great.
I have mold growing in my house that I tell the landlord is art and then hope that he doesn't look too closely. It kind of does look like a dog though.
But hang on, so why isn't the landlord? I've never
Fixing
understood
the
this.
mold.
Why isn't the
I
landlord
live in
responsible
Sydney.
for the
What do
mold?
you mean? Why isn't the landlord fixing the mold? Yeah, why don't I just go buy a house? Like, I don't know. What do you mean? That's like you get a house in Sydney, you know you're getting mold
but
and
I feel
potentially
like-
a lung infection. Like, that's the bare minimum
Yeah,
now.
but I feel like that's the.
I went to a friend's house the other day and the floor
squelched.
squelched, dude. Like, the bar floor, bar coffin. Like, that's where it is.
And look, I did get your application for me to fix that. And I would have fixed it, but I've seen some great art here tonight, and I really feel like. Indeed, yeah.
So the mold in your place is a sort of Rorschach test, is it?
Oh, what do you, like? What, like, is that what is
Well,
that?
you said
Sorry.
You said you saw a dog in it.
Yeah,
or-
yeah. It kind of looks like it's kind. Well, you kind of got to squint, but you squint and like sort of like and then back away, and it kind of looks
It's
like
a magic eye puzzle, is what
Yeah, a
you're
little
saying,
bit.
right? Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's mold, Mark. I don't know what to tell you. We didn't exactly train it to look the way it did, but every time somebody mentions it, I just say, "Yeah, it's
Maybe
art."
you should convert your house into
I rent, can't convert.
an art gallery. No, but just
I
put
reckon-
a
I
sign
reckon-
out the front saying art gallery.
like a business.
Get a grant.
Yes, get a
from
grant.
from the
You can get a grant to
Yeah.
show the problem
Yeah.
with renting
No,
in Sydney.
yes.
You put
And then you
frames
put-
around the
the
molds.
mold and
Mold.
put a little signature in the bottom
Yes.
of like next to the mold.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that it's like
Do you
your
know-
art.
This is good.
And then you give people stickers, and then get a whole lot of people who own property to come in. They'll put stickers around all the.
How many people do you think I know that own property? I'm genuinely curious.
Well,
because I can
everyone
tell
in
you,
this
Doesn't
it's
everyone?
literally. Well, yeah, okay, you're all welcome at my house. My share house will hate it,
I
but
presume you own property, but you just rent because you
What's
make
the
it-
tax reasons?
tax reasons. Yeah.
no, that's why anyone in Parliament rents. No, that's
renting as performance art.
I think that to be fair, this podcast has taken a kind of a bad turn whereby it's kind of whereby it's really people in an older generation picking on people from a younger generation, which is why I'd like to extend that for a second. If we look at this picture over here of Lachlan, right? So Lachlan, one of the young interns that helped out on the Chaser, obviously was exploited by Charles. Obviously, that's an entire case for the future.
Weren't we all?
But what's fascinating about art is that it captures a moment. And if you actually look at that piece of art, there is on the wall, there is a little square piece of A4 paper that says, Lachlan will give everyone $110 if Labor wins the election, signed by Lachlan.
I love this.
So now the question is, did Lachlan cough up?
No.
No.
He did not.
No.
So this is fantastic, because what we've now done is, again, one of the younger generation of the Chaser is now losing an extra $110. Although, actually, to be fair, how do you read that? Is it $110 to everyone, as in you spread it between everyone, or everyone involved in the Chaser gets $110 from Lachlan?
I think everyone in the Chaser gets $110.
So this is
Well, that's
right,
how you read it. I wanted to be nicer because when he made that bet, I knew it was dumb. But this is my favorite photo because it's actually, I was saying before we went live, I forgot that bet ever existed, and now it's documented in the biggest format possible.
It's on a photo.
And I was just texting him today, and he's just bought a PS5. And so now I'm kind of like, well, you can make up for this bet if you just let me play that.
My plan is actually just
Fraction
to
of
dock
it.
his wages now
That's
until
smart.
the
Yeah,
debt
yeah.
is
No,
paid
Charles,
off.
no,
Like
that-
sort of indentured labour.
That Charles is what is a better lesson for him to not gamble than to make him hock his brand new PS5
Yeah.
to pay everyone
That's
$110.
right.
I mean,
Yep.
that's
Merry Christmas.
But what gave him the confidence to think that Morrison would win?
He doesn't have confidence. He's a young person. No, he just wanted to be contrarian.
yeah. So he thought that is true. Actually, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But a lot of people thought Morrison would win. Up until the election, they were just generally in the right-wing media. Not
But
the
this is
left-wing.
dated 8th of February 2022.
Oh, this is before he spear
Like he
tackled
was-
a child, right?
No, I think it was just after his spear tackle.
And Lachlan went, that's a winner right
That's the winning
there.
moment.
Actually, Lachlan does play soccer. I mean, it's a very real possibility he saw that slick slide tackle and went, that's my man. Like,
I love in that moment that Morrison holds the child just a moment too long because in that moment he knows he's fucked.
A tender,
Because as soon as he
a tender
lets
hug.
go, he has to face the consequences of having spear tackled a child.
I do also love that bet is placed above a drawing that we made of Lachlan that was initially meant to audition him for a non-existent show that we heard about like once in the office where they were looking for a young, affable receptionist, and Lachlan for some reason thought that was him. So we drew him like a headshot because he didn't have one. And it had started out very, very genuine and like Lachlan, young, affable receptionist, and somehow turned into Lachlan, sex lawyer. I really wish I could explain how that happened.
Does that say sex lawyer?
Yeah, it's my handwriting. But I don't know how we got there, and I still couldn't tell you.
That is a great concept for a show.
Yeah.
Sex lawyer.
Lachlan,
But it's also,
sex lawyer.
it's also a hole in the market. There's so few sex lawyers nowadays.
It's also the vibe I was going for in my photo.
Mark, because true, if they said Mark
I think
Humphries
that's
sex lawyer, it would make total
I think
sense.
that's
Just for any podcast listeners, this is really good stuff if you could see the photo.
I think that's sex paralegal, actually.
Sex typist. Puppetry of the... Stop it. I'm going to shut my
No,
mouth.
the reason I picked that photo is because we've talked about it here. You're going to have to put it out on Instagram and everything else to go with this podcast. That's why I
That's if
mentioned
we
it.
edit it
Yeah,
up.
that's good.
I would hate for only the people in this room to see that photo.
It's a shame, isn't it?
But we've got artists in the audience. Darren. Hello, Darren. How are you, mate?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Darren, what do you think about Charles's... I mean, have you had any success with arts funding? Have you gone through grants applications? What do you think about Charles's approach to...
Took all the great words. Took all the great words. You were in it before us.
Yeah. Well, I think that's right. Because you can only do it once, right, can't you? Because the whole point about art is it's got to be completely unique. Like the definition of art is something that's never been done before. Right?
Sorry,
But-
sorry,
what-
2
what
seconds. Did you just say just change the font?
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Museum of Words, Comic Sans. Brilliant.
to be fair-
That's a thinker.
To be fair, Charles could probably sue Jen because she has just photographed like post-it
Yes.
notes. Before that's a dictionary. That's a
that's
Museum
of
of
Words.
You're going to be caught.
What a hack. What a hack.
I do feel like that we should probably give Jen a kind of right or reply to the entire
Oh, yeah.
attack
Yes,
we've
I
done.
I think
Jen,
that's-
come up. You can
Yeah,
have
come
my
on.
mic and
Yeah.
great applause. Great applause for
Welcome
an
to the
actualised.
stage, the artist.
Oh.
There you go.
Yes, exactly, yes.
Yeah, the movement is going to be just photos of Mark Humphries. in
Stunning.
various
I'm,
ways of
I'm
desperation.
surprised that the exhibition isn't just that photo multiple times.
Well, it started off as that. That was the main image, and it was going to be just as big as Alexa, and then it slowly got smaller and smaller.
Okay.
It is true that it's strange that we haven't mentioned the fact that there's the largest picture in the whole room.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Is Alexa naked with a suitcase with money in front of him?
If you knew Alexa, though, that's like a Thursday
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
okay.
Alexa. Like, if you go to his Twitter account, that's literally like every second post.
And actually, Alexa was here at the premiere on Tuesday, and he walked in and he went, "Oh, thank God, it's that one." So what was the one that he was fearing?
So I think he was going to try and make a video about this guy he found that skinned cats. And so, you know
No,
what
I've
I'm
talked to
talking
him about that. Yeah, I've seen the cats.
So he was like, I would turn up with the camera. I was 5 minutes late. His clothes were off. And he was like, do you want to see the cats? And I was like, yes, of course I want to see the cats. And I think his girlfriend or someone at the time just like threw some skinned cats down at me. And I was like, fantastic.
That sounds like a classic Alexa interaction.
Did you find out if there is indeed more than one way to skin a cat? Get back to them.
Mark, I would say you're better than that, but I've seen the photo. I want to ask Jen a question though about, because a lot of people want to get into art, and there's a lot of arts people hearing this. But I want to ask Jen about the approach, what it takes to get art. So the picture we talked about earlier, which is just a suit hanging on the wall there, okay, actually has a fascinating backstory. That is actually Karl Stefanovic's sexism suit. So now, but this is the story behind it. You flew to the Sunshine Coast to Noosa to try and find this. Should I explain what Carl Stefanik's... This is the suit that he wore for like a year, every day over and over, to prove that people cared about what women wore, not what men wore. Look, it's a great shame that in actual fact it's the greatest statement about fashion waste that's ever been made by Carl Stefanovic. True. He's our greatest environmental warrior and sexism warrior that there is. Okay? We're all...
Jermaine Greer was good, but, in terms of Australian feminists, I think Carl Stefanovic ranks high.
Smashed her out of the park just by not changing. But you flew to Noosa to get it. Now, talk us through what you went through to actually get this.
Well, so I sort of stalked this guy for about a month, and I followed him on every social media, and I found his parents because I knew this suit had been auctioned off to a kind of wedding company on Hamilton Island. And so I found everyone involved in that organisation, and I was like, where's the suit? Who's got it? Who's got it? And it ended up being the son of the owners who had moved to Noosa, and he was in America. So it crossed like 4 different time zones, and it was just hanging out in his wardrobe. I was like, I'm coming to your house.
But the interesting part of it is you're leaving out the pack. It says on this thing, you slept overnight in a public toilet. Your trousers tucked into your socks to fend off deadly spiders. With $10,000 of uninsured camera equipment in a Noosa toilet.
Yeah, that's typical Noosa life, isn't it?
What I like about this is that to Jen, that's just the normal part of the art story. She didn't even think that was the strange part of it. She's like, I do that every night. What are you talking about? I'm an artist.
Australian public toilets are so clean. They are cleaner than places that I've rented.
There's been some campaigning done by some prominent radio personalities in Australia to ensure that they're better than others. That's good, yes.
No, I inspected one earlier today. I put in an offer of $1,000 a week.
Could I put my spare art there if you get it? Because I just got too much fucking art for the walls.
It could be like the Marrickville Metro where they put the big portrait of young Albo up. We could just put the portrait of you up there.
That'd be great.
Brilliant.
If anyone's got a spare toilet for my art, that'd be great. But so the guy literally has just bought this suit and is just holding on to it in Noosa.
Yeah.
You can rent it out, can't you?
Well, no, now you can. Now it just is in his wardrobe because he left his parents and started his own business, I don't know, doing something boring. So now he has the suit just in his wardrobe.
But at least he's a feminist. What I like about this story, though, is that Jen, as a photographer doing this kind of art exhibition, has better investigative journalism skills than most journalists in Australia. She's tracked this guy down.
Genuinely.
And I will say as well, there was an ABC documentary just before this that was partly about the chaser and being offensive and stuff, and they tried to track it down, and they didn't. They couldn't do it.
Well, there you go. I mean, when has Kate McClymont ever slept in a toilet? I ask you that.
But talking of journalists, Friendly Geordies is also on the wall there.
He is, yeah.
Do you want to explain what happened the night you shot him? I mean, not shot him.
Fuck's sake.
I turn up to his place. He's super stressed. His whole team is super stressed.
You're in the studio, right?
Yeah. I'm in his little studio place. He's got fishes and paintings of himself everywhere.
Craig,
Callback, unintentional callback.
Stealing my material.
and he's super distracted, super stressed because he can't find his house keys. And I'm there, and I'm like, I don't care about your house keys. I'm here to photograph you. So stop looking. You don't need your house keys. They're not important. Forget about it. The next day...
I've slept in piss. I'd kill for fucking house keys.
I've killed several wild pests with my bare hands.
Boasting about having house keys. You know?
I got here on the back of a wild deer.
And so the next day, I get a text message of a house on fire, and it's his house. He had not found his house keys because I had distracted him. And so he was safe. I saved his life. He slept in the studio that night. And they found as well his fire alarm had been tampered with at his home. So him and his girlfriend would have just been burnt alive.
Can I ask you, Jennifer, did you firebomb his house
Yeah, I was going to say.
for the sake of this anecdote?
Well, when I turned up, he invited me to the press conference. And when I turned up, he was like, I bet you're happy.
Did he, on any level,
And you were like, no,
accuse
you
you?
were
though? Oh, sorry, did he, like, on any level accuse you of firebombing?
I don't think legally he could.
No, true. Well,
But obviously you were massively disappointed because had he died in that, you would have got the last photograph of him, which
Exactly.
is way fucking worth way more. I mean, the fact that it's just one of 20 things up the back there is because he's still alive.
fucking hell.
I want the artist in the... Hey, I'm just saying to the artist in the room, finish the job. We're not going to broadcast this, are we?
Well, I'm currently the editor, so how about we just edit that one out? Note to me later, leave it in.
Where do we go from there?
I don't know.
Surely that's enough. Is that enough?
To be fair, you've given them a tip of how to get arts funding. I've told them how to make a picture be worth a lot more. What the fuck more can we give this arts crowd?
Oh, you've
Honestly.
also taught young artists that their life is worth more if they just cut it off now. Like, that's the vibe we end on. Great vibe, everyone. Merry Christmas. Christ.
Anyway, so usually Dominic Knight co-hosts the Chaser Report, and the one skill that he has is he always has the ability to sort of wrap things up neatly. So that's been...
A lot of people think that's a bit, but the other day I had to edit a podcast episode with Charles and a literal robot. I'm not kidding. Charles went, Dom's not here, so what could I do? Could I call any number of my friends that I know are great at talking on podcast? Nah, I'm just going to interview Google's new AI, and I'm going to stretch it out for 15 minutes. And then I'm listening to this thing at 11 p.m. at night while editing going, fuck, like this is...
It was
this is
sad
shit
because
listening.
Charles got outfoxed by Charles signed the company over to Google AI. Fucking never leave it to
At
Charles.
one point, the AI went, Charles, do you think we should wrap this episode up now?
Hang on, that's great. That means we can replace Dom. That's his only use.
It was a low point. I didn't know. I can't believe I'm even telling you this. I wasn't planning on outing this problem, but I debated texting you being like, Charles, this is maybe the worst episode that you have ever recorded
We got
of this
so
show.
many complaints about it as well. People emailed just going, please never do that again.
And then the story keeps going, and I haven't told you this bit either because I'm convinced you actually didn't listen to the next episode. The next episode happens because on that episode, Charles, very down in the dumps of what he's just done, says, and I promise Dom will be back tomorrow. And then lo and behold, the next day comes. I'm like, cool, so when are you guys recording? And they go, fuck. And so they don't record anything. And then Charles is like, oh, we'll just, go back to one of the war stories. But the problem is when he said, go back to the war stories, the protocol is you have to still do an intro. And I didn't feel like recording one. So I just went on AI and I made Snoop Dogg give the intro to the next episode of the podcast. And you never said anything, so I was just convinced you never listened to it. I did not ask your opinion. That's this week. That happened like 3 days ago.
And I just want to point out, has anyone noticed that Dom hasn't done the last several podcasts? Guess who got the last photo of Dom Knight, ladies and gentlemen? I told you! Finish the job. I'm selling it out the front. It's worth millions.
Well, since Charles is incapable of this has been the Chaser Report.
Let's look at the nude guy. Our gear is from Rode and we're part of the Iconoclast Network. See ya.